All right, all right. Welcome to another episode of Cultures versus Vultures. And today we have a very special guest. Go ahead and tell them who you are, brother.
Sharmain Harris, man. Appreciate you having me.
Of course, always.
And I'm Tree.
All right, and I'm Lanier, of course. And today we're going to be talking about a lot of different stuff with this brother. He is dropping a new book that is available for you, Rising Above the Odds, right? And before we get started, we're going to talk about our weekend and we're going to hop right into it. Welcome.
Let's do it.
All right. So, Tree.
Me first. I went to. You got it. I went Friday. I had, of course, the football game, and it was Bradford versus Tremper, and like I said, it's so hard for me to root for Bradford. Our boys go to Bradford, so it's as Sharmain know, like right. I didn't know. I was waiting
Trojans over here.
So it was so hard for me and Michelle. It'd be so hard for us going into Tremper rooting for Bradford, but we got to do what you got to do. Okay. But we got the win, and they need some new coaching over at Bradford for real. There's something going on. I mean, at Tremper. They need some new coaching at Tremper. Something going on over there. I don't know. They ain't been the same since damn near look like since probably Sharmain left there.
Yeah. Damn.
But we went to the football game. We had a nice time there. Michelle's got the weekends off now. She found a new job, so we've been spending time over the weekends, just getting some quality time in, and that was about it.
All right. Sure. Yeah, me, man, I just worked, hung out, went on a date.
Of course.
To Sukasa, had to go ahead and get that little ding going. You know what I mean?
I didn't know you went there, but go ahead.
Yeah, went to Sukasa out in Vernon Hills. That was pretty cool. And that's about it. That's all.
Say her name.
No. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. This man said, say her name. Nah, bro. We ain't
much information.
That's too much information, bro. That's for a whole different episode. And then other than that, man, went to the family reunion, the Cole family reunion. That was beautiful. Nice. I got to see cousins that I haven't seen, man, since I was 8. You know what I mean? So got to hang out with the cousins. It's always... if you don't know my Auntie Donna is a very special person. She's the glue of the Cole family, and she just gave a prayer at the end of the family reunion that was just so touching. I was in there dropping tears. You know what I mean? Because she's just so powerful, and she's the glue of the family, and she keep us all together. She keep us all in contact. So, had to go to Chicago and do that. Got to spend some time with Lanier Sr. He's doing pretty well as well. And, I just had a good time. And that was pretty much my weekend, man. That's it. What about you, bro?
So I celebrated my birthday actually on Sunday, 37 years young.
Well, let's go.
Okay, big 37.
It was good to be celebrated. We had church early that day, and I'm a minister. Sometimes I preach, but I didn't have to preach that day, so that was cool. Got a break. But my father, my wife, my kids, they all celebrated. Me after church, we went and got a bite to eat.
Okay.
Got some gifts, got some Beats headphones.
Okay.
I've been asking about for 2 years.
They had to get that money right. On
But you got them though.
But
you got them though.
Wife, of course, got me a couple things. But one of the biggest things, a small kind of thing was I pull up at the house. My son always trying to scare me.
Right.
So he pop up on me out of nowhere and kind of scare me. I wasn't scared, but I act like I was scared. But just wrap his arms around me, my 11-year-old, the boy that changed my life, and he just said happy birthday. And those small things like that, man, really, really make you feel happy. So I didn't do nothing big or nothing like that. I'm kind of on the grind trying to come up. So I'm not about to do nothing big. It's just 37, but maybe when I hit a milestone like 40, I'll do something big.
Okay, yeah, I get that. Yeah. Something, my birthday, is super important to me because I feel like it's a whole nother reset for me. It's my new year, I like to call it, right? So any job that I ever get, I tell them like, hey, there's 2 days I don't work. It's my birthday and the Super Bowl. Other than that, you got me, right? Yeah. So I take my birthday very serious because, like I said, I feel like it's a new year for me, and I feel like it's another chapter on progression for myself, to set goals for myself. So I take my birthday very serious.
I think we'll get into this, but like I think one of the reasons why I'm so like nonchalant about my birthday because I celebrated a few of them incarcerated.
Okay.
And so like when it's your birthday in there, you don't even want to tell nobody. You know, you kind of just keep it to yourself and you kind of get used to it. So that's why I say it's always special, even the small things like when somebody else celebrate me for my birthday or like, you know, I had a couple surprise parties in the past.
Right.
But I'm not one to like put on my own thing for my birthday.
I get that.
Maybe I'm traumatized.
I'm the same way where like my kids, nobody believe me, but like it can be up to my birthday and I'll still be walking around and be like, and they'd be like, it's your birthday. I'd be like, oh, I really be forgetting about my, because the way I grew up is just like we really didn't celebrate it that much. We really didn't have bread like that, and we didn't do nothing. You know what I mean? And them to the age where like I'm just another number. But my fiance do sometimes be taking care of me for my birthday. You know, she get me a little here and there, and then she bring the family around. She know what I like and stuff like that. So she's the one who really been bringing me into like, oh, my birthday is a thing. You know what I mean? Because I would literally forget about it and just walk around like it's just another number. Just totally forget about it.
Yeah, and I get that too, man. You know, like I said, I just use it as a day just to spoil me, take time, reflect, do what I need to do. Most of the time, I'll leave Wisconsin or the states, you know, just to clear my mind. And I like I said, I get it. It's to each his own. For sure. To each his own, for sure. Well, with that being said, we got into the weekends. Let's dive into it, man.
Dive into it, Mr. Harris. So for people. The people that's probably been under a rock, for people that may not know you.
Don't know how.
I don't know how. Can you explain who you are and what you basically mean to our community?
For sure. Well, first of all, I appreciate you having me. And
of course,
I know people locally might know me, but you know, at some point, this podcast might be worldwide. So
I hope so.
Happy to do an introduction. So, Sharmain Harris. I always start off with I'm a husband and a father first and foremost.
Yes, sir.
I am born and raised Kenosha. Spent part of my life in Racine. I'm a business owner. I'm an author. I'm a speaker. I'm a football coach. I'm a community activist. I do a bunch of things.
That's a lot of hats.
You know, and so at the very point of it all, I'm a father, and that's really, you know, how I kind of define myself, and everything that I do, it kind of stems from that. So I've been in Kenosha, 20 years now.
Oh, okay.
I got a story of, you know, making some terrible decisions when I was younger, getting out, having a son, changing my life, starting a program here in Kenosha called Dedicated Dads, taking it from local level to nationally recognized, and, you know, a bunch of other things happened in between there. But one of the biggest things was I was recently pardoned by the governor of Wisconsin.
That's huge.
And had all my rights restored after, you know, doing time in prison. So
big move.
That's what makes me a speaker. That's what I speak about. That's what my book is about. And that's me in a nutshell.
Okay.
Let me start? Because
go ahead, bro.
He covered something he said in there, because I wanted to ask him about it, like his upbringing. So I remember we were in school together. You 37. You just had a birthday. You 37. I'm about to turn 40 in February.
Damn.
I remember. Stop playing.
I remember. Kevin Hart?
Damn. I remember us being in school together.
Yeah.
We went to Trimper together. But I kind of remember you just, because I grew up here. I was born here.
Yeah.
And I kind of just remember you just appearing out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Like, and I always wanted to ask, what you said you was born here.
Yeah.
But I don't remember you as a kid. You know, like I'm from Kenosha. My fiance would be like, "Oh, just because you don't know somebody, you get mad." I'll be like, I never see somebody be like, "I've been here for 40 years. They be my age. I ain't never seen you in my life.
Yeah.
This is Kenosha."
Right.
You know what I mean?
Everybody know everybody.
Yeah. So I'm looking like, so I always wondered like, where I don't remember you being like a kid, but I remember like people around you the people around you when they were kids, but I never remembered you. So so you were born here, right? And when did you? So you were born here. Did you with your mom and dad together when you was born?
Oh yeah, for sure.
And how many siblings did you have?
So I did kind of pop up out of nowhere. Okay. So I grew up. Actually, I was born here. Moms went to Chicago, I believe, shortly after that. But we ended up landing in Racine. So I grew up on the north side of Racine, Wisconsin. Tough area, you know, police sirens every night, guns, violence, and all this kind of stuff. But I grew up with my mom. She was a single mom, 5 kids, 4 different dads. So I got 2 older siblings on my mom's side. And then I got a set of twin sisters that's under me. So I'm the middle child, and I always joke I'm the black sheep, literally, because I'm the only dark skin on that side.
Everybody light skin.
Yeah.
So were they all in Racine with you?
For the most part, my sister left pretty early. She went to the military around 18, so I don't really even remember having a relationship with her. But me and my big brother stumped the streets of Racine, and then my sisters as well. But my mom and dad was never together, I believe. I always joke too. Sorry, mom and dad, but I believe I was like a one-night stand, baby.
Okay, yeah, no.
My parents were never together either.
We've been there, done that.
Yeah, I never see my parents like together, nor any pictures together. But I remember my dad when I was younger, he would come and get me. But around 10, 11, he went to prison and served some time. And so like that was really the roughest part of my life from 10 to 12. But while he was inside, he turned his life over to God, and he said it was his mission to get me, his oldest son, in his custody. And so when he got out, I went through this real big custody battle between my mom and dad. Had to go to court and, you know, be interrogated by the social workers. And eventually my dad won custody. Okay. So that was 8th grade, or like the middle of 8th grade, I believe. And my father got custody, and I moved to Kenosha and went to Bullen.
Okay.
And so then he moved out of the Bullen district into another area, and then that's why I went to Tremper right after that. You know?
Okay.
So that it totally makes sense. Like I said, he just came out of. I don't remember. Like everybody grew up together. You know what I mean? If you wasn't in certain areas, you probably like everybody that went to Tremper was like in the Lincoln. You didn't grow up here, you know what I mean? You was
everybody went to Lincoln.
Everybody went to Lincoln or Washington. But if you wasn't really at like these certain parks with us, and like because Lincoln used to be busing back in the day, you know what I mean? All the kids used to go there, and I just don't remember him being there. And I remember him being in school, and I'd be like, where he come from? You know, but everybody knew him, so I'm like, who is it? But I was older than him. But I was always just like,
so you know who you knew? My dad was married to Emery Walker's mom.
Yes, and I always linked y'all. I always thought y'all was like brothers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I was just like, okay, that's Emery brother. But again, I knew Emery.
Right.
I knew Emery and Nikki them.
Right.
So I'm looking like, where did he? Okay, but it all makes sense now. It all makes sense.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I kind of came out of nowhere too. Like I came here like in the 8th grade. You know what I mean? And just arrived, which was crazy because I hated this place when I first got here, brother.
Hey, you get treated different when you ain't homegrown Kenosha.
On God.
You damn near can smell a motherfucker for real.
On God. I remember, here. Bro, I almost got into it with a cat because I remember walking into Washington and I had some Air Force Ones on. Dude was like, hey, I like them Dookies on your feet. I'm like, Dookies? Bro, these new. What you mean, Dookie? Like, no, bro, that's a, you know what I'm saying? Though, that's a good thing. That's what we call them here. I'm like, oh. You know what I'm saying? Like the lingo and everything in Kenosha different for sure. For sure.
Yeah. All right, so we all attended Tremper. Yep. You attended Tremper.
I did.
You did not. You don't count. You ain't from here. You just said it yourself.
Kenosha Military Academy.
Indian Trail.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I remember you being around though.
You remember Lanier from? I don't remember Lanier.
Well, I played football for Bradford because Indian Trail didn't have a football team at that time.
I'm sure I seen him around. You know, everybody went to a Izzy party.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, I was hanging with the Cooks heavy when I first got here. Vontrell was my road dog for sure.
Okay, that's probably rare.
And then not even at his parties itself probably was. Yeah. You probably might have been in one of his parties. Ain't no telling for real.
I used to throw some bangers. Oh God. But what were you about to say, brother?
So he went to Tremper. You graduated from Tremper.
Yeah.
Okay, you graduated from Tremper. Have you outside of? Did you ever like work like one of your first jobs or something like that? Did you ever work during high school or right out of high school, or did you just jump like into the streets from high school, or how did that work?
So, short answer, no, hell no. You know, you saw me kind of coming up while I was going to school at Tremper. I was kind of living this double way of life. Like I was a student, an athlete, but I'm still in the streets. You know what I mean? And so I always say, like, I'm grateful for my dad coming into my life and, you know, kind of helping me change. He was adamant about school, you know, popping up at school. And, you know, even my mom eventually moved to Kenosha as well.
Okay.
But while I was, you know, living this kind of double life, trying to be a student athlete and in the streets, one side got the better influence over me.
Okay.
And so like 15, 16, you know, we out there reckless, living a life. And I'm a little bit more advanced than the guys here in Kenosha because Racine a little bit different.
Right.
You know, especially like a mindset and, you know, savage kind of thinking, you know, the way I used to think. So like I introduced a lot of the guys that I used to hang around to like some of the street stuff or like the cutthroat side of it. But I ended up getting myself in trouble. One of my first charges was burglary, you know.
That's outside of high school?
No, that's in high school.
In high school.
Yeah, me and Emery and a few other guys got ourselves in trouble, 16 years old. But we ended up getting a deferred sentence or adjudicated sentence because we was juveniles.
Yeah.
So they just called our parents and put us on probation.
Slap on the wrist.
We got probation, and if we completed the probation, we had it expunged off our record.
Okay.
So I went through that process. So while I was in high school, I was on probation already, having to go, you know, drop and, you know, go to classes and things like that. And that kind of helped me. But sports definitely helped me. And, you know, even though I had that kind of up and down kind of experience, I still graduated on time.
Right.
Okay. So with that being said, and you know, you said that you was like in and out, both sides, double life. What about the street life that just trumped everything in your life that, you know what I'm saying, that you was like, okay, yeah, I'm an athlete, but I want to jump off the porch. I want to do this. Like, what was it about the street life that was so appealing to you that you wanted to do that versus being studious or being an athlete full time?
For sure, yeah. I think it all started kind of early. You know, I think the science says a kid really becomes who he is, like mindset wise, mentality, like from 0 to 7. Like once you hit 7, that's like generally who you gonna be.
Okay.
So my experience growing up in Racine from an early age, you know, from 7 on, but even before 7, I was just like around the streets, you know. Vice Lord on every corner, you know what I mean? Watching the dope boys. I always share the story how when I was about 11, I went around the neighborhood asking for dollars.
Right.
You know, as kids, we trying to collect money
Right.
on our birthday. It was my birthday actually.
Right.
So one of the guys, he didn't give me no money. He said, "Stop begging people for money. Here, take these 2 bags of crack cocaine and go sell them." Right.
Okay.
And so I'm young-minded, impressionable. You know,
Put you right on the porch.
You right on.
he made me think like that's what it meant to be a man. You know, now fortunately I didn't like jump off and turn into like selling drugs at that moment, but you know the seed was planted, and then I started doing it later in my life. But
Did you get them off?
I did. For less,
At 7.
no, I was 11.
Okay, you 11. I was saying, damn.
So I sold them for probably less than what they was worth.
Okay,
They was
right,
supposed to be worth $10. I probably sold both of them for $5 and went and bought me some candy, not really knowing what I was doing. But that culture in itself, like the guys I grew up around Racine early in the gang, I'm already in the gang as well. So that's why I say I'm thankful for my dad for moving me out that environment. But it was already some deep-seated kind of philosophies already in my mindset. So as he was trying to tell me about a new way of life and you got potential, and even in sports, like people seeing my talent, I'm still set on what I think it means to be a man, which is, you know, what I call false manhood.
Right.
Like I'm violent, so that make me a man. I'm cutthroat, you know. I got a kid, you know, I didn't have kids early, but you know, these things that people think make you a man,
right.
But it'll be a long time before I figured out what a man really was.
So it wasn't all about like the dollar with you. It was about I'm a man.
The lifestyle, you know what I mean? The friendship, the camaraderie, you know, you got to remember during that time I'm impressionable because my father is not like all the way involved. Now he's around, you know, but
This is in Racine.
This in Racine.
Okay.
Now, you know, I remember him coming to pick me up, you know, we jumping on a motorcycle, driving up to Kenosha, you know, coming to get me, dropping me off to his wife's house. Which is why Cash and Cologne and all of them is like stepbrothers too.
Okay.
But he went and did that time, and like the critical part when I shifted from 5th grade to 6th grade and 7th grade, and that's when you start becoming a little aware and conscious of oh, I'm poor as hell.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Because you're comparing to all other students what they got on.
Because of the culture at school. So like the first day of 7th grade, I always say or tell a story how I went to school on the first day of 7th grade with a giant hole in my Reeboks.
Right.
Right. Mom's welfare check didn't come until the 1st, but school started on the 31st.
Damn.
So we had to wait till the next day.
I've been there. Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Me too.
So
I've been there.
you know, you probably got stories about how you know, funny I am and humorous, but that started as like a defense mechanism. Because I know I gotta clap at you and everybody else before you notice the
Before you even get to me.
Oh, God, yeah.
You know what I mean? And so like once I realized I can start getting attention from that, that's why I stayed like the class clown, because I got attention from it. Girls noticed me, guys wanted to hang out with me, you know what I mean? And that was like, you know, my identity that I created for myself.
Right. I was the same way. I used to crack jokes all the time too. Okay. And that is like a defense mechanism, right? Like you said, like, you know what I'm saying? Like take the attention off me, let me go ahead and put the attention on myself. But, you know, take it where you ain't looking at my shoes, you ain't looking at my clothes. You know what I'm saying? You just worry about what I'm gonna say to make you laugh. I get that
I
for
was
sure.
dealing with that in high school. Like in high school I might have had one pair of pants. And I had to wear the same pair of pants all the time. You know what I mean? I was just on the dirtiest side. I didn't care about hygiene and shit like that. Yep. And it is what it is. Like you said, a defense mechanism, try to laugh it off. You know what I mean? I dealt with the same thing. So everybody dealing with the same thing.
And that was part of the reason why, you know, for the burglary, like, don't get me wrong, Pops was doing well for himself. I believe he was either a garbage man or a truck driver.
Either way,
back then, you know,
back then,
his wife had 5 kids. Then he had one with her. Then and me, so that's 7. So the resources got to get stretched. And you know, if you from Kenosha, you remember when them no names dropped.
The no names.
The no
Lanier,
names.
you know what no names is?
They
look like Jordan 1s, patent leather all the way up to the top.
Damn.
So Pops buying us.
Get them from Fashion Land.
I remember Fashion Land.
Fashion Land.
I used to live down the street from there.
No names, $20.
So, yeah, Pops buying us, you know, pay less and no name stuff. Don't, you know, I'm appreciative of it, but then again, like that conscious reminder, like when I go to school, I'm gonna get roasted for this. So that's why we kind of got off into stealing, and you know, the burglary was just the time we got caught. But you know, me and my stepbrother was just finding ways to kind of make money for ourselves. You know, figure out how to steal phones and go sell them to
the Lincoln Mart,
one of the local, you know, Arab stores, and you know, make money and try to buy our own shoes.
Yeah.
Right, that makes sense. And I remember sharing shoes with homies. It was like, all right, your mama got you these. All right, you got these. All right, cool. You know, we'll switch
I wasn't
it up.
doing that.
Man,
we did.
I was getting if a pair of shoes left my house, I was getting beat.
Oh,
Where's them shoes at?
Yeah,
I didn't spend that money on. Oh, especially because, like you said, we would have to wait. Now we would eventually get shoes, but we might be sitting on that pair of shoes for a year.
Yeah.
So where is them shoes at?
Right. Yeah.
You get 2 pair of shoes. I say you got your go to school shoes and your play shoes. And so generally you got a pair of shoes when school started, and then a pair of shoes when school ended.
Oh God! And you would just try to keep them as clean as you could, man.
But I went to school earlier, like 5th and 6th grade, with the they was called Stadias, wrestling shoes. So, you know, my mom had to kind of shop at the St. Vincent de Paul or the Goodwill. And I was getting clowned for even my big brother. And then my brother, 4 years older than me, so he figuring out how to work. He buying his own shoes. Now I'm stealing his clothes. Right. Now he beating me up every time he'll make me take his shoes off in front of all my friends and all of that. So like those deep-seated like self-conscious awareness kind of things, like that's what drove a lot of my behavior, you know, later in life.
That makes sense.
So when you only did one bid, right? One big bid?
Two.
You did two big bids? Or
if you consider it big, I consider a week in jail big.
No, well, big. I'm talking about like prison. How many times you been to the joint?
So when I first in 2009 I earned a drug charge.
Okay.
Well, let me start back. Before that, I would get a whole bunch of commitments. So for
county time.
Driving without a license.
Same shit I was doing.
You know, on my book cover, I got a bunch of my mug shots in the background.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that. I'm like, you have to go to jail more than twice.
But that's all county.
Half of them is just driving without a license, and when they catch me, I got the money to pay it and get out right away. 2009, I earned my first drug case where, there was a confidential informant involved.
How old were you?
I was 19 or 20.
Okay.
Yep. So to your question about the job, after high school, I didn't get a job at all. I kind of just dipped off into it. But let me backtrack. I did go to college right after high school.
Did you?
Okay.
Yeah.
Where'd you go?
I went up to UW Stout University.
Okay.
So I went there. I was playing ball and all that, and I just felt out of place.
Not a lot of people that look like you?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so, and then I didn't really know how to navigate college life. So
it's a navigation.
I don't got no parents, no brothers, nobody I can lean on.
Ain't nobody
I'm first generation college student. My dad was so happy to get me out of there, but I couldn't really lean on him for no advice. Now, I'm making excuses, but, eventually I made the dumb decision to come back. But really, like, I was homesick.
Yeah,
I wanted to get back to the guys, and when I got back, you seeing cats ride and fly, making their own way. I jump off into it. 2009, I get my first drug charge. I bond out after about 2 months, mess up again, get into a big altercation with a guy that we robbed, and so he saw me after I got out. I go back a month later.
Bail jumping.
And so my first sentence was a year in the county jail. And if I was to mess up, I would face, I had 4 years probation, but if I was to mess up, I would face 10 years in prison.
Okay.
Damn.
So I did my year in the county jail, which is like 9 months.
That shit terrible.
With good time, yeah.
And county time is terrible.
But the worst part about it was like it wasn't scary enough. Like I still can see my people, like they can come visit me, downtown. You can see out the window. I got out 2010.
So it didn't. Don't mind. I don't want to cut you off. So it really ain't hit you. My
Not
family
that
right
time.
here.
It
I'm
didn't
good.
hit me hard enough, and then I'm in jail with everybody I know from the streets.
I'm good.
Right.
So like
I
we
can
all
do
in
this.
there sharing stories.
You already certified as soon as you go in.
Couple scuffles, you know what I mean? I'm the man now. I got money on my books. I got a fat bag of snacks. Like I look like money. I got gold teeth. You know what I mean? I just snuck into the jail, Cartier glasses and all that. But I did my time, got out 2010 March, and I really wanted to change, man.
You on probation?
I'm on parole. Yeah, probation. now.
Okay, you on probation?
It's a difference between probation and parole. So I'm on probation. Probation is where you never been to prison yet. Parole is where you've been to prison and then you got out. So I'm on probation now, and I'm trying to walk a fine line. I'm trying to get jobs, but every job kind of denying me. I'm going through temporary agencies. I work 90 days, and now it's time to get into the company. They run the background check when you get in the company.
Right.
They X me out, say the job assignment ended. So I tap back into the streets, man, and that's That's when I probably sold the most drugs I ever sold in my life. And then 2011, March, I went to jail for something totally unrelated to drugs.
Okay.
But I was revoked and sentenced to 5 years in prison. That year I did before counted towards my sentence. I sat in the county jail for 1 year fighting my case. And so I did 6 months in a regular prison and then another 6 months in a boot camp program. And that boot camp program knocked off 2.5 years of my sentence. And so I returned 2013, February.
Okay.
And 13, that was your last bid.
That was my last, yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
so okay.
Yeah.
So all while you going through this in the thought process and you sitting down, you just like, damn, I'm back in here, right? You know, what's going through your mind? It's like, you know, I want to change, but I don't know how to. These people ain't giving me a job. What the fuck do I do? Like, what's going through your mind? Like, all right, when I get out of here, this is what I'm going to do. Like, how did you go from that to that?
Yeah, so, you know, like I said, county jail, I didn't really take it serious. I did get to a point where I was in solitary confinement for about 12 days, and I got into the Bible real deep.
Okay.
Because the only thing that you can have in the whole solitary confinement is books, you know, the Quran or the Bible. So I really got deep into it, and it helped. You know, I'm reading about, you know, Jesus Christ and my dad kind of praying for me and coming up and visiting, praying for me, and you know that kind of helped. And I talk about it in the book. When I was released from the county jail, this is a crazy story. When you get released, they ask you, you know, do you want to take your belongings? And so one of the things in my belongings was a Bible that I had wrote and marked all in. And so they asked me, did I want to take it? I said, no, I'll leave it. You know what I mean? Now, my name is on it. I get out, do all this time in the streets, get back and sell the most drugs I ever sold in my life. And then when I was booked again in March 2011, when I went upstairs on that bunk, guess what was on top of the bunk?
No.
Your Bible.
The same Bible.
Damn.
Your name in it.
With my name on it. The same one I wrote up when I did the, I talk about that in the book too.
Wow.
It's
I call it the Boomerang Bible. So like, that's when I knew like, oh, come on, God. Like,
He throwing it in your
you
face.
trying to be funny, you know what I mean? Like, right. But here's the thing. And I heard other people talk about it. Like, while I'm in the streets, when you in that life, like you can't hear nothing.
Right.
You can't hear it's too much noise. When you lock down and, you know, it's just you and your thoughts and, you know, you thinking about the coaches that told you had potential, your dad, your mom, you know, all the things they try to tell you, you know, you gonna end up dead or in jail.
Right.
Even some of the street guys with sense, like they wasn't selling drugs, they was just around it. Like, bruh, you know, you should take a different path. Like you that's all you thinking about. Like that's the worst part about prison for me. Like I had handled the fights and the gangs and all of that, but that mental torment was kind of what was eating me up. And so I got to a point where like, man, I shouldn't even be living this kind of life.
Right.
And then in prison, once I got there, you know, I'm seeing guys that got life for murders they committed. I ain't gonna say no names.
Right.
But I'm seeing them and how they live, and I'm like, cats like really comfortable in here.
Right.
And then one guy asked me, like, you know, one of the things they ask you in prison is how much time you got. I tell him 5 years. He say, oh, that ain't nothing. I do that standing on my head. And
I heard that term before.
I go back to my cell at night like, is people really in here think 5 years ain't nothing?
And you think, and motherfuckers sitting in there for 3 months thinking about ending it all.
Man,
I can't do this.
I seen a dude try to end it all, you know what I mean, in the county jail, slit his wrist in the shower. But when I got to the boot camp program, that's when my mind really shifted.
Right.
You know, extreme physical training every day, intense group therapy every day.
Right.
You know, healing moments, like we doing trauma exercises, like I'm sharing my story, like I'm getting deep into who I am and self-awareness. And as I learned more about myself, that's how I was able to get out and, you know, make the steps that I made now.
Okay.
So returning in, you said 13?
Yep.
Returning in 13, you already had it in your mind. This a wrap. That's my last time going in there. and I'm turning a new leaf. I'm turning the corner now.
Yep.
You already had in your mind 13.
Yep. Easier said than done, though.
Oh, I was just about that was gonna be my next question, right? So you out, you got this fresh new, this is who I want to be. I'm done with going to jail. I'm done with the streets. But then temptation hit. Come on, Sharmain, where you been? I see you just touched down, bro. Let's go on the block. You know what I'm saying? Hey, man, come out to the bar with us. Hey, yo, bro, let's go hit this lick. You know what I'm saying? Like, what in you, like, what did you tell yourself is like, nah, bro, that ain't me no more. I ain't gonna do that. I ain't gonna, you know what I'm saying? Where did that willpower come from? Where did that will is like, no, I'm not going with you guys. I'm not doing this. Like, how did you stay focused and stay on the narrow?
I didn't.
You didn't?
Okay. I didn't. Okay. I just didn't get caught,
Okay.
Okay, there it is.
Yeah, that's
I was on a leg monitor when I first came home, so that was a lifesaver.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So when you get out early, you got to be on home confinement for 90 days.
Okay.
So I couldn't go when people asked me to go somewhere.
Right.
I had to get a job. Mm-hmm. I to satisfy my agent. Mm-hmm. But the minute that bracelet was removed, I teetered. I told the line again. One thing that kept me focused was, and one thing I vowed to myself was, I was going to keep a job.
Okay.
And so whether it had to be temp agencies over and over or not, I was going to do that. But I ended up getting a job at Red Robin.
Okay.
A long-term job, and so while I was kind of figuring myself out, I still was employed, and it kept me busy during second shift. Mm-hmm. And I always say those like the peak hours for police.
Okay.
Literally,
you know what I mean? Like, if you ain't doing nothing during that time, you the police know what you're doing.
Right.
So that was 2013, March. My girlfriend and my wife now was pregnant in April.
Okay.
So all while I'm trying to make this transition, I got a baby on the way, my first child, and so I'm really knowing that I really got to change because I didn't want for my son what I had for myself.
110%.
And so once he was born, January 2nd, 2014, they called me from Red Robin. I go up to the hospital, witness my son being born. I was just like amazed, like
it's a wrap.
It's
a wrap.
The process of creation in itself, I'm like, bruh, like a human being just grew. I'm telling my wife, joking, like a human being just grew inside of you.
Let's talk about that a little
Like
bit.
this sci-fi, you know what I mean? This alien kind.
The same thing happened with my daughter, and I was still young. I was fresh out of high school. I didn't know who I was.
Yep.
I didn't know if I wanted to run the streets. When I seen my daughter, rap.
Same.
It was a rap when I seen her.
Yep.
I was like, oh, okay,
Like,
all this. My mindset changed.
I'll tell you what happened to me. First of all, I'm thinking of just like, wow, a woman is a very strong person, a strong species. Like,
Yes.
damn, you just went through that, right? And then my daughter was born, you know what I'm saying? She came out, the doctor held her, and I just started crying. I'm going to be honest with you. I started crying, and I just looked at her, and I said to myself, I got to take care of that little girl in the best way I can
For the rest of her life.
For the rest of her life. For the rest of her life. I made a promise to myself at that moment when that doctor held her up and said, "You want to hold your baby?" I started crying. I said, "Hell yeah." And I looked at her and I said, "I got you forever."
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it didn't click. The whole pregnancy, it didn't click that I'm about to be a dad. I'm seeing her stomach getting bigger. I'm seeing food diversions. I'm like, oh yeah, whatever. But the moment she came out, I'm like, oh my God. This is mine. Yeah. I seen the strength. I seen the true strength of a woman, and it just did something to me in the inside. I don't know what it was, but I know that girl got me forever. Yes. You know what I'm saying? So I'm sure that's what's happened to you. You were just like, all right, now I gotta get good. I don't want to be in these streets no more. Like, yeah,
that's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
And it hit me right when he was born. Like I'm holding him, I had those same feelings, cut the umbilical cord and all of that, take him home. But it was when he got about 3 months or so, 4 months, when they really start to like shape and look at you. Mm-hmm. I mean, look like you. That's when it really hit me like, oh, I'm responsible for him for the rest of his life.
Yep.
And he didn't ask to be here. Mm-hmm. And so I started making a dramatic change in my life. And then to your point, like, feeling, sucked in by, influences or whatever. Now you know, I was still going out and hanging out and stuff, but now it's like I can't do that like that no more.
Right. Yeah, I got to go home, guys.
Yeah, you know, and also like I can't, like my girl, she was my girlfriend then until he turned 1. I can't like let her carry that load.
Yeah.
And, you know, I have no pictures of me and my father, like with him holding me as a baby.
Mm-hmm.
So like the trauma from that, like I wanted to make sure I'm there every step of the way when he take his first step, when he say his first words, all of that. So that's really what like made me shift my mindset and stop, you know, living a certain way. And then an amazing opportunity happened because of my son. I can dig into that if you want.
One thing I wanted to touch on, because I know it's a big part of your life. Your wife. You met her before the bid?
Yes.
She did the time with you?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
So,
Great. Held you down?
Yep. Shout out to my wife, Shanika Harris. She's a Price. She related to the Price family here in Kenosha. But when I was in the streets, I knew her. You know, she was dealing with somebody else, but we was around 36 and 37. She stayed over there.
Dirty 30s.
You know, 30s. I'm dealing with, you know, multiple women and, you know, kind of living a fast life. But, you know, she was just real down to earth. I met her through some mutuals and we didn't really like hook up or nothing like that. But when I went to jail, the second time after I bonded out, when I went back, she was right there when I had, you know, had the physical fight with the guy. She was upstairs. Okay. And the guy's sister lived downstairs. And so while I was in jail, you know, depressed, worried, scared or whatever, she wrote me a letter, you know, out of nowhere.
Oh, God.
And so I'm reading the letter. I'm telling my boy Rail G, like, hey, this female just, you know what I mean? You ain't never had it where somebody came out to you. You know what I mean? So that was exciting. And, you know, we started conversating from there. She sent her phone number, started talking on the phone. She put money on the phone. And then you know, we had.
She really liked me.
Oh yeah, yeah. So, do you care to share? Do you care to share like some of what the letter said? You ain't got to go in depth, but like, was this she saying like, hey, like I'm feeling you when you get out, like?
Yes. So like, you know, she talking about like, you know, it's so much more to you, you know, like speaking life into me, but at the same time, she telling me like some of the stuff going on with my case too. Right. The second case, she trying to help me out. You know, like she can hear what they saying downstairs, not to put her on blast.
She's a real one.
She really looking out for you.
God. So she looking out, and then,
hey, babe, they said that they
damn,
was
I gotta marry you now. Damn.
Well, yeah.
Oh God, looking
I love her ass.
But to be honest, like, you know, I'm gonna be 100% transparent with y'all, and you know, I talk about it in the book. The reason why I end up going back is because of a situation with her that kind of went bad. Okay. I was living a life again, even after, you know, we started to call ourselves in a relationship. But I'm still, you know, big doing the goon. That's what they call me. I got hella money. You know what I mean? I'm, you know, 9.5, 18 ounces of dope. You know what I mean? On a consistent basis. So girls gonna flock, you know what I mean? Of course. I got jewelry, everything you can think of, looking like a rapper. But it got to a point where our feelings kind of grew. She found out about a situation and she got upset and she withheld my drugs from me. Now, you know, my phone blowing down, you know, I got money calling.
She losing money.
She don't want to, you know, open the door. So I kicked the door in and, you know, touched her up a little bit and end up getting charged for that. But all the charges was dropped to like a criminal damage to property. And for the longest I blamed her for that, you know, before we kind of rekindled while I was in jail again. And I blamed her, but then I had to take a step back, like, you know what, that's on me. Like, I'm bogus. She has a daughter before me. You know, from a previous relationship, I'm subjecting her to that. You know, when my daughter was like 5 or 6, I had like misplaced some of my drugs. she brought it to me like, here you go. Like her knowing to bring, you know, something like that to me. Like I was a bad guy, you know. So during that prison process, her and I, you know, kind of further connected. Despite the situation, you know, most of the stuff got dropped anyway. But despite that entire situation, she stayed with me the entire time. You know, she's sending me her tax money. You know what I mean?
Nice.
Now my books was full already, and
Right.
she knew that.
Right.
You know, I had money when I got locked up, but she still, you know, contacted me, got money on the phone. You know, making sure I'm good mentally, and that's one of the reasons why, you know, she won the prize.
Right. I get that. And I get that. And then now look at y'all, right? You know, a whole beautiful situation.
Work through it.
Yeah, work through it.
Work through it.
That's beautiful. That's that old school love. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and it's been a journey. You know what I mean? Marriage ain't easy. You know, we 10 years. We celebrated 10 years August 15th.
Okay.
You know, ups and downs. I'm nowhere near perfect. You know, anybody that said they is, they lying. But
Of course.
it's those things that kind of, you know, build a relationship. Like, how much have you survived together? And not saying like you got to be in a struggle relationship, but I don't care if you affluent, well off, like dealing with another person is going to be struggles because it's two different people from two different upbringings. You know, I got my own mom and dad. You got your own mom and dad. You know, a lot of us didn't have fathers. So like, you know, we trying to do what's best for our children, and hopefully our children will do what's best for theirs. And that's how you truly change a generation.
Yeah, that's that's beautiful, man. I did you have something? Go ahead.
No, I was gonna move to forward. What you got?
So, you know, obviously, you know, I'm not going to sit here and, you know, fake the funk like, you know, I talk to you every day because I don't. But, you know, we've had conversations. I've seen you in the grocery store. I pay attention to you. I pay attention to, you know, everything you got going in your life because you are a person that, you know what I'm saying, that I look up to in a sense. It's like, all right, this man has changed his life. You know, I'm going to do the same. And I know there's people that looks up to me, and I know there's people that looks up to Tree. And with that being said, man, I've noticed, you know, some things that you went through, you know, the last couple years, and that's losing people close to you. You know what I'm saying? And I just want to know, as a man, right, as the man that you are, you know, how are you being there for your family, for yourself, for everyone that you know needs you, but still have to carry that burden yourself? How do you deal with that?
Man, that's a tough one there. I will say I went to therapy like for the first time in a while.
Okay.
Like individual therapy. Me and my wife do marriage counseling. I think every couple should do some kind of couple or marriage counseling because you got a referee there now. You know, y'all fight dirty. The referee like, no, that's out of bounds. But like dealing with everything that I'm dealing with, you know, my brother passed in 21. Due to alcohol, you know, couldn't let go of the bottle. My sister was murdered by her boyfriend 2022. So like a year later, in the midst of all of this, my father was, you know, wrongfully accused of something terrible. Thankfully acquitted for that. But then just recently, my other sister, Momo. So my dad has 6 kids, including me. My mom has 5 kids, including me. I had 7 sisters amongst that entire group, but 2 of them passed and 1 brother. And so it's been super challenging, man. I'm still dealing with it, you know.
I get it, yeah.
I think, you know, something called the stages of grief, and, you know, think denial, and, you know, then you get to a point of acceptance. I still haven't accepted, you know, like I can accept, you know, my sister recently dying from cancer, and then my brother dying from, you know, poor choices with alcohol. But the one where my sister's life was taken by somebody else, that one, like,
that has to hit home.
Hit me every night.
I believe it.
You know,
I believe it.
And, you know, while I'm trying to be strong and, you know, remain kind of sane for my family, I got to lean on my support system. So thankfully, you know, over time through the fatherhood program I was running, you know, I've built a network of people that's like, you know, gonna make sure I'm good.
Right.
My older sister, you know, she gonna make sure I'm good. You know, I got people that in my corner like know going through it, because on top of this, I'm self-employed and trying to be an entrepreneur.
That's what I'm saying. You're juggling so
know what I
much.
mean?
You got a lot on your plate.
So one of the things that happens is with people that come from prison is like, I'm not addicted to any drugs or nothing like that. Alcohol, do I have a shot every now and then? Sure. But I'm a workaholic now.
Right.
Which is not so much a bad thing or a good thing. But like, to kind of handle some of the stuff that I go through, I gotta like keep myself busy.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm in a gym consistently. I'm playing ball. I'm writing my book. I'm on different projects. I'm doing podcasts. Because if I let my mind get idle, I'll slip. And after my sister passed, I actually did slip. Like, I was about to fight somebody at the bar like 2 or 3 times. Okay. But one of my guys was like, you got to go home. And people don't really know this, but, just because I'm doing well and it looked good online, you go through these type of situations, like you kind of sometimes revert back to default settings.
And lose sight of who you became.
But you got to constantly try to wash yourself away from that. And I'd be remiss if I didn't say, the power of God, and my faith, and, doing for others and knowing that my story can help somebody else.
Exactly.
That's what kind of keeps me going.
Okay. And it just saying what I've been through a lot of shit in life too. And, some people on the outside looking in, it's like, oh, Lanier, you got it together. You got this together. It was like, sure, it seem that way, but just like you said, workaholic, right? Mm-hmm. I found peace in just going to working 55 hours and getting my mind off of things and just trying to move up in companies and do what I need to do. But sometimes when I come home and all that shit's over and done with, sometimes I got to deal with that pain that I've just been ignoring all day. You know what I'm saying? And, people, think that, people who seem to have it all together, like they don't have these issues, that's bullshit.
Yeah. Man. And they don't understand that we all become workaholics to keep our mind busy, not knowing we on the ride home, we crying.
Facts.
Then we spoke about this in another podcast. We sitting in the car crying.
Shower
we
crying.
taking in the shower crying. You know what I mean? We be going through it, and it looked nice on Facebook. It really looked nice.
It looks great.
And like one of the biggest thing that was helping, I was running that fatherhood program for a while. Politics kind of got involved. I don't got to go into that much, but the program got shut down.
Oh, I didn't know that.
But
I didn't know it got shut down either.
While I was at the WIC office, just to speak to your point, a lot of guys just kind of need that outlet. So like when I was running the groups, I get guys that, might not be religious like me, might not, subscribe, and that's fine. I never try to push my beliefs on nobody, but they will say stuff like, man, this is my church. And I think men in general, I'm trying individual therapy, but I like to be around other guys that's kind of going through it, so I can be like,
I ain't alone.
Yeah, I'm not alone in it. And even if the guy I'm doing individual therapy with is saying they relate and they, I don't know, just I feel like as boys, growing up on a team, football team, basketball team,
we always talk about that. Yep.
We really like to be around each other, and we hold each other accountable.
Yep. Yes, that's facts. Yeah.
I ain't taking shots at the ladies too much, but they might get around in the group and talk about nothing personal. you tripping or and I see y'all do it all the time. You get on his butt about whatever it is, and he's okay with that.
Yeah,
no, 110.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
And vice versa.
And vice versa.
And generally, you don't even gotta know the guy, but if they do it in the right kind of spirit, and they not trying to put you on blast, you'll be like, you know what, bruh, you right.
You right.
But you know what, Sharmain? Another thing, when you talking to one-on-one an individual, like a therapist or something like that, sometimes I think, what you been through?
Right.
Have you I can relate, or are you telling me all this nice stuff? You might not have been through nothing, so you can't relate to me, and I'm just telling you my problems, which I ain't got nothing with therapy and
therapy helped me a lot.
I ain't got nothing wrong with that. Ain't nothing wrong with that. But I always think what you been through?
And it's kind of like a tribe. You look at, you searching for your tribe, and I think everybody on the planet Earth is especially in America, you searching for the people that can relate and build community with.
Yeah,
that's what community is. Building. posted the other day, community is an action word, so like building community, like, and finding your tribe, I feel like that's just like one of the better approaches, and that's what worked. And even as I'm, living this life now, guys calling, getting out of prison, they instantly hitting me up, because they feel like, oh, that's somebody I can connect with.
Facts.
And, help me take myself to the next level.
So with that being said, you're saying that, guys are hitting you up outside of prison, and, is that something like, because we already know that you're going to go far, like these books are going to take off. I know that, I feel it in my heart. God is telling me that that's going to happen for you. Is that a program that you're willing to create maybe throughout the U.S. or in troubled places like Chicago, Cali, here, that when these guys get out of prison, they have like a Sharmain program that can show them like how to be like, hey, this is what you need to do and not do this. Is that something that you want to do?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? To have programs for people that just left prison?
Yep. So both inside and out.
Okay.
It's going to be called the Rise Above Reentry Academy.
Okay.
That's kind of the framework I'm using, and it's going to be based off the book, creating curriculum. More so, right now I'm potentially about to partner with leaders in the prison system that want me to travel to, across 40 different prisons.
Okay.
Kind of just sharing who I am, on a motivational side. But on top of that, they also want me to build programs within the prison system. So that's one side of it. On the side where they get out, I love reentry. I tend to focus on like the guys that's inside, and I'm always going to connect with them. But one of my biggest heart kind of tugs is something I call no entry.
Okay.
We always reactive. We reacting to guys that got out of prison after they committed the crime. So like I'm real big on figuring out ways in which I can talk to young boys, young girls too, but especially between the ages of, fourth grade to about, middle school generally. And how do we stop them from going to prison in the first place?
Have your own, let's say, DARE program. Remember when DARE used to go around to the school? You have something like where, you would go on tour on these elementary schools and these schools and just say, hey, there's a better way.
Like DARE, but more
real.
More real.
More real. Because we had all let that nigga down. We did all let that.
DARE.
We did all let that lion down, bro.
DARE was something created by the Reagans.
I'm already knowing. I'm just trying to give
they had this
a
thing,
good analogy.
just say no to drugs. I get that, but
Who was it, Nancy Reagan?
how do you say How do you say no to drugs?
Say no to drugs?
You just say no. Ain't nobody finna stop asking. You know what I mean?
That's the fact.
Your friends, the people you
that's
around.
Facts.
Oh, you say no one time. You gotta learn how to say no 1,000 times, and then how do you build yourself up to say no? But back to your question,
right?
That's the goal, man.
Okay,
building my personal brand, and hopefully, I'm at a point where income wise, I'm able to both run some kind of program. But also, my mindset is like I get so well off that I contribute or, donate to the nonprofits already doing the work, or use my influence to help them kind of prop it up.
Okay.
Okay. So I wanted to touch on two things real quick. One was, what was the first step in this mission? And what, because 13 you came home, you had this mindset. In what year and what age were you like, okay, these are the steps. This is my mission. I'm gonna join this field. And what steps did you put in? What was like your first speaking or outing? Or what was that?
So, like I got this, miracle transition story. Like God has been a part of my life the entire time. So when my son was about 10 months, I walked into the WIC office. Okay. For an appointment. Y'all know about WIC?
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
Supplemental nutrition
We black, ain't we?
program.
No,
Cheerios, no sugar.
The brick joints. Yeah.
So I go in for my appointment, finish up. I'm getting ready to leave. This lady come running out asking me, do I want to attend this fatherhood program? And so I'm like, yeah, of course I want to attend it. I'm a new dad. I want to know more about it. So, fast forward, I attend the program. We in there, they expecting a great turnout. They hoping, you know, everybody that they marketed to come. They didn't sent the flyer out to over 100 fathers. About 30 minutes into the program, me and the 2 other facilitators realized I'm the only guy that showed up.
Man.
So the boss walk in, and I talk about this story in the book too. She walk in and she's upset, visibly, you know, disappointed, I should say. That's a better word. And that's when I kind of took action. I'm like, hey, you know, I know a lot of fathers in the community. Maybe I can help.
Okay.
And so like this, like on the volunteer kind of side, like I ain't looking to get nothing out of this.
Right.
I'm just like, this when I'm making my transition in the streets too. I'm posting quotes and all that. I read Think and Grow Rich and Rich Dad, Poor Dad. The typical books, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm trying to change. And so I offer her and say, I can do this. And so to my surprise, she said yes. We set it up. You know, eventually we got to a point where I'm a volunteer and I'm about to put on this fatherhood meeting. Never did this kind of work before in my life. And so I put on the meeting, I promoted, I'm posting the flyers all around town. But while I was doing it, I'm like, I like this. You know what I mean? Like, if I can get a job where I don't got to use my hands, this the first time like I'm a knowledge-based worker. So, and I'm just volunteering. Anyway, long story short, the day of my event, over 25 fathers show up to the event.
Oh, God.
All the guys I used to run with in the street, P.Y., Tim, Phil, Rashawn, you know what I mean, Lil Bo, you know what I mean? All the guys we used to run with in the street.
Shout out to Lil Bo.
Daryl, you know, but the difference was all of us had kids now.
Yeah.
You know, and so I was about 27. My son was a year old. I was about 27. And those was like some of my first kind of get comfortable speaking engagements because now I'm hosting these workshops. And so that,
and when you this your first time speaking and stuff, but you already like, this is what I want to do, or you like, wait a minute, I can do this.
it was just an opportunity at the time that I'm like, oh, I'm about to walk into this.
Okay.
And you know, it make it even better that I was incentivized. So the director found a way to get me hired part-time, 10 hours a week. I'm still working at Red Robin. And then she figured out how to get me on full-time.
At the WIC office?
At the WIC office.
So you got access to the WIC office now?
I got an office and all that.
Let's go.
Oh, okay.
So now I'm walking in this call and you know what I mean? Guys coming to me, I'm getting referred. And then my story kind of blew up. People hearing about my program. I make a connection with District Attorney Mike Gravely. He get involved and he say he want to help me get taken off parole 4 years earlier than I was supposed to.
That's where I was going with my next question.
That was the biggest thing that kind of happened for me. So now all the guys like,
oh, wait a minute.
yeah, they
got
really
parole?
You in tune with Mike Gravely.
Yeah. And by the same judge that sentenced me to 5 years, she's now modifying my sentence to
Judge Wagner?
Judge Wagner.
She was a cool
when I called the case.
When I called the case, she made.
Yeah.
I was
Shout
driving
out to
around
Judge
with no
Wagner.
license, getting tickets. I didn't know. I was in the hood. I don't know about a license. She said, "Well, you finna go get a license. Hey, I ain't finna shoot in jail time, no nothing. Go get a license and come back." I came back with like, "Yeah, I got my temps. Yeah, I said a license.
She a real one.
This date." I said, "Damn, okay, she ain't gonna put me in jail." She made me go get a license and dropped everything.
Yeah, Judge
I was
Wagner a
like,
real
okay.
one.
She about this tall.
Yep. But
Nice
she had
little
black
woman.
hair, little glasses.
She what she did is held me accountable.
Yep.
That's what it was.
Me too. She told me, I bet not ever see you in here again. Why are you even here? You're not even supposed to be here. Look at you.
Yeah. But to your question, while I was working at that job, in the first week, my supervisor said, you got to go to Snap On Tools and talk about the program in front of 50 people. I'm like,
50 people.
what you mean? By myself? You coming with me? She's like, no, you going by yourself. I'm like, what? So I'm like legit about to have an anxiety attack.
Right.
Right. But I knew it was something I was passionate about. And so I went and did it. Snap-on was one of our funders. So I was just going to talk about the program we was building. And then now while I'm working the job, and, you know, in the first year we had over 100 fathers go through the program. That's huge. So all the WIC organizations around the country want us to come speak and talk about what we built in Kenosha.
Man, this
My
ain't number
first
God.
real big speech was in a room of 600 people.
Okay.
By yourself?
No, now my supervisor was with me. I couldn't do
that
that by myself. I legit had a speech, and I had to read off of it. Right, like every single line. But I remember being in my room, and I just write the scripture on the back of each page. I can do all things through Christ. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Mm-hmm. I rocked that speech out, bruh, and I'm reading off paper. It's 30 people lined up trying to get my business card, right? Everybody reaching out. They want us to go to this place. And during that journey, that's when I got the connection with Mike Gravely again. I got a full ride scholarship to Carthage College.
I was going to ask you that, yeah.
So now as I'm going through business, I'm learning a little bit. And so as I'm going to speak for my job, I'm seeing people get what's called an honorarium. Mm-hmm. And they're getting paid, $1,500, $2,500. And $500 just for speaking. Mm-hmm. But I can't get paid because I'm on the clock.
Okay.
So I got to just take my day's pay, my $380 that I'm making for the day, which I'm grateful for. Mm-hmm. But that's in that moment, I'm like, it's people that get paid to do this? That's when it hit me like, I've been a talker all my life. I've been a joker all my life. Right. I sold drugs in the past. I'm convinced and I can do sales. You know what I mean? Okay. It's just different terminology I got to learn. And so that's when it hit me like, I'm about to use my entire story, everything that I built, and package that and promote myself. And if I know how to sell anything, I can sell myself. You know what I mean?
That's it. I tell people all the time.
In a good way.
I used to tell people all the time, like when I was in management and things like that, and it was like, Lanier, like, you know what I'm saying, how do you get to management and do this? And I said, have your elevator speech ready. Yep. And when I say elevator speech, if you on that elevator and someone comes in that elevator and that's a top person, you got about 30 seconds to sell yourself. Yep. You know what I'm saying? So I'm sure that's what you got. You know what I'm saying? And
it took a while to get to that point. Like, I'm still speaking, and then, I got hired to speak at the Inspire conference. Me and Mike Gravely was on the stage together. Mm-hmm. And, I ain't even know how much it charged, but I knew I was about to put in PTO for my job and get that bag.
Right.
So I did that, and I got a check for $1,000 for 1 hour of speech.
Let's go.
I took a picture of it like, for 1 hour? For 1 hour. For a speech? Mm-hmm. Now I'm anywhere from 5 to 10,000. But
let's go, let's go, baby.
It take a lot like out of you. Like when you go and do a speech, though, I see why people charge up to about 25,000, 100,000.
You got to work them. You got to work that crowd.
You really got to know how to handle a crowd, and speaking publicly is the second fear. The number one fear is death.
Right.
For people. So I seen that. I'm like, oh, I know it ain't gonna be a lot of people who want to do this. Mm-hmm. Let me talk. Like, a lot of people can do podcasts, but it might be different if y'all had to get up on that stage.
Yep. See, me personally, I've never had a problem with public speaking because I have to do it a lot. I don't know how Tree would feel.
Shit.
You wouldn't do it? I
like you said, it's the second. I'd be and.
ABCDE.
Yeah, okay.
but there is a true art in the public speaker.
Yes.
And you know what I'm saying? It's eye contact, it's finding that one person in the crowd that feeling it and looking them in their eyes, right? Mm-hmm. And then working the room, and you know what I'm saying? So there's an art. And if you can craft that, more power to you.
Yep. And so now I'm speaking, and I'm getting paid for it. But I still do, locally, like some free speeches. Like I go to the schools and speak, but honing my craft, like recognizing like this what God want me to do. He want me to use my voice. My story and everything I went through wasn't for nothing.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even about me.
Yeah.
Right? Like he often take a nobody, turn him into somebody, so in front of everybody. And so that's what he's doing, and I recognize that at every point in my life. That's why you see I remain humble. I make a decent amount of money last year. This year different. I'm trying to pull it in at the end of this quarter, but
I think that's all.
recognizing your gifts, recognizing your talent, and recognizing that your gift is not even for you. It's called a gift because you're supposed to give it away. Mm-hmm. and you know, people that see your gift and recognize your value, they won't even allow you to give it away. They like, we got some, you know, we got a check for you. So, you know, to your question, like I recognize that ability when I was working at the WIC office, and then when I branched out in 2020, I negotiated my own contract with the state of Wisconsin and kept the program going, and now that's one part of my income stream.
That's beautiful, bro.
So when it comes to the parting, at what point were you like, did you think about it, or did you come home in 13 like I'm getting this, I'm wiping this off of me, you know, I'm getting this off of me, or did it come with time where you were just like, I can get this off me?
So that's a great question, man. Y'all taking me deep now. So when I was in the boot camp program, we had to journal every day. We had to write about our stuff. I used to get in trouble for journaling because I'm like, this program's stupid. You know what I mean? Third shift guard would call me out like, Harris, get out here. What's so stupid about the program? I'm like, dang, I thought that was our own journal. No, they read everything we put in the journal every night. But I journal like, when I get out, I'm going to be an entrepreneur. When I get out, I'm gonna tell my story. I'm going to get off parole early. I'm gonna get my record clean and expunged.
In the journal.
I'm manifesting this while I'm in jail, while I'm in the program. So, interestingly enough, when I got off parole 4 years early, I started hearing a conversation about the pardon, because in order to get a pardon in Wisconsin, you have to be removed from parole or any papers for 5 years.
Oh, okay.
So because I got off 4 years early, my time clock started early.
Oh.
So
I was wondering about that. Yeah.
I was supposed to get off in 2020 off parole. I got off in 2016.
Yeah.
So now I had to wait until about 2021 to apply. This entire time I'm at my job. I'm talking to Mike Gravely about it. You know, I'm going through the application, reading everything. I'm like, I got the perfect answers for these. Mm-hmm. That's when I realized it was possible. I just had to wait. Mm-hmm. So 2021, I applied. It's a long process. It took over a year before I heard anything back from them. Now it's probably about 18 months because so many people trying to apply, because Governor Evers, one of the only governors that's like accepting applications. Mm-hmm. Once I realized it's possible, I pursue it, and that's with anything in life. Once I realized speaking was possible, making money on my own was possible, working a job that I never worked was possible. When I see a glimmer of hope,
facts,
despite the felony on my record, despite everything I went through, despite coming from the streets and having it rough, and being denied so many times, if I see a glimmer of a hope and an opportunity, I'm going after it.
That's facts.
And so 2021. I got the email. I was coaching my little youth basketball team, and I just started hollering. Like, the kids was like, "What's wrong with this guy?" Parents was like, "What's wrong with this guy?" They sent me the email and said I was all my rights have been restored, and I'm no longer a felon, basically. And I can vote. I mean, you can vote while you're on parole. You can vote
while you're on parole. A lot of people don't know that.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
A lot of people don't know that.
Voting's coming up. If you're on parole. Sorry, let me take that back. You can vote while you are a felon.
Yeah.
While on parole, you can't.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
But if you're a felon, you can vote.
Yeah.
And I hope I'm saying that right.
I think
presidential vote too?
Yeah.
I didn't know that, bro.
You can vote in any election as long as you're not currently
on probation for the crime you did.
As long as you're not on probation or parole. If you just a felon, like, so when I got off in 2016,
right,
immediately I was able to go vote.
Damn, I didn't know that.
For a felony. If you got misdemeanors, you can still vote.
Yeah.
So anyway, I got the part in 2021, and I got my thing in the mail, shortly after, and probably one of the greatest things that ever happened for me.
I believe it, bro.
And when I drop that, like when I'm doing a speech, standing ovation every time.
Mm-hmm.
That's I believe it. It's rare, and you know what I'm saying. Man of color who actually beat the odds, like that's That's huge, bro.
Yeah.
That's huge, and I can only imagine how you felt when you had that one last monkey on your back that people would try to hold against you.
Yeah.
I'm sure when people found out that you was trying to get your pardon, I'm sure there had to been a hater somewhere, right? That probably tried to stop that.
Yeah.
But look, you persevered out of that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We don't even got to bring dude up, but I'm just saying, like, I already know.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
A few boiled potatoes out there trying to stop my progress. We'll keep it at that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Right. Keep it at that, right? Because he gets no play in this ride. Man, it just had to been good. It had to be in your face. Like, mama, I made it.
And it wasn't even about like I didn't even really need it to advance what I was doing because I was already self-employed.
Right.
It's a self thing.
And the pardon was more about like showing other people that it can be done.
Facts.
And a lot of times, people watching, like you think like you got to have this immaculate story like mine to get a pardon. Like get them applications in because Governor Evers just said he's not running again.
He's sick of it.
But the guy I think that's gonna win will probably most likely continue the pardon process. But you don't have to have this highlighted story. Like I've been on the calls, like, and I'm not downplaying like blue collar work or nothing, but people that just work a modest job, you know what I mean, in a factory or a carpentry or electrician, plumbing. I see them on the calls, on the interviews, and they getting pardons. Mm-hmm. I think Governor Evers pardoned over 1,200 people now. So, it wasn't about like I needed to get a job or stuff like that. It was more about showing other people that I can do it, and if I want to, I can run for office now. So
that's beautiful.
But I'm not. But if I wanted to, I can.
Just so the people who, who might not get this information, but they gonna watch this because they mess with you, they mess with us. Yep. Is there a website or something that they can go to that you can tell them on there?
Yep. Sharmainharris.com. That's SHARMAIN. Harris, HARRIS.com. Sharmainharris.com. You'll find out all my information. Also, all my social medias is just my name. You'll see this big head dude with this big forehead. Click, like, subscribe, whatever.
Okay,
So hold on, one more thing, and then we gonna wrap this. I know we going on. What do you want to give the people? What'd you write the book for?
Yep. So
that's a beautiful cover, bro.
Yep. This actually my second book. The first one was working with dads, 7 Steps to Engaging Fathers and Family Services. That one was more geared towards practitioners, like working with fathers, social workers, probation and parole agents. When I wrote that, I rushed it a little bit.
Okay.
With this one, I took my time. This is my memoir. This is everything that I went through. So, a question I often get is like, man, Sharmain, how did you do it? Like, how did you, overcome this? And what happened in this situation? Jump on the podcast to kind of explain it, but I really can't give you everything, even on the podcast, even in an hour speech. So I wrote everything down that I went through. And, my subtitle was My Journey from Pain and Prison to Power and Purpose. So this book is for people that believe in prison reform, people inside that want to come out and, change their lives, people that just support, knocking a dent in mass incarceration and the 2.2 million people incarcerated in the United States. This book is to give hope to the 600,000 people being released every year and showing them that they can do it. This is not a how-to kind of book, but this is just one of those reflective kind of memoirs that just show the importance of having resilience, having dedication, being focused, having a purpose bigger than yourself. And the book just breaks down every single stage of my life, the pain, the prison, and then everything I talked about on the podcast when I started getting that power, and then when I realized my purpose. So this book is for everybody surrounding the prison reform kind of industry, and criminal legal system, anybody that sees flaws in the system. This book is for you, and especially for the guys that's in that prison cell right now, or maybe you just got out and you're looking for like some inspiration. This book is for you.
I got a quick question about that. I wonder if you could sell those books to the prisons that they can put in the library.
Yes. So
Okay.
I I'm marketing myself, so I sent them free copies.
Okay.
So I just got confirmation that my book is in the library and Racine Correctional Institution.
Beautiful.
Right now they can check it out, but hopefully, like Barnes and Noble, like if a person come trying to find the same book every single time and they don't got it, they hit up the distributor or the person, the author, and say we need more copies of your book. So if you in RCI or somebody you know people in RCI, tell them to go request my book and read it. Okay. But just keep requesting it. Then they gotta hit me like, hey, we need more copies.
Okay. So there's not like a person you could sit down with at Barnes and Noble and be like, hey, yo, like, you know, this book is I feel like it's gonna go well. Can you put it on your shelf? Or
it's a little bit more of a process for that. So
okay.
Right now my book is on Amazon as well. So you can find my book Rising Above the Odds on Amazon as well. But Barnes and Noble has a different process, especially when you self-publish.
Okay.
So if you self-publish, like I published it myself. Other people have a publisher that helped them, you know, get into Barnes and Noble and stuff like that.
Okay.
So I got one more thing, and then we gonna win this.
We can keep going for a little bit.
Okay. I wanted to speak on. I took something from you a couple years ago, and you said something, and you might not even realize. I don't know if you realize you said it or not, or you might have forgot. And so about being a father, and I don't know. You might have been in your car. You might have been somewhere. You was doing a vlog, and you said, "It's not on you to say that you a good father. It's on your kids."
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember saying that. And I always like kind of took that. I was like, it's on my kids to tell that story. You know what I mean? If he was a good dad or not. You know what I mean? So one thing I tell my kids is, like all the time is I'll be like, it's a saying, like if you stay ready, you ain't never got to get ready.
Facts.
And that's my saying to them. Can you tell us something that you would tell your own kids? Like you got a saying. You know what I mean? What does that mean behind that?
That's a good question. That's a real good question. Because typically,
you got to have something that you always tell your kids, and my daddy always used to tell me.
So you know, my oldest is 11, biologically. My daughter as well. I've often said this, and it's a cliche saying too, but I'm often emphasizing it to my youngest. My oldest 11-year-old. But to be aware is to be alive.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So, you know, kids, man, you know, they're not paying attention, forgetting his instrument, you know what I mean, at home. He calling, and the school calling, I gotta come drop it off. And, you know, I'm just really trying to drill that into him, like, you can't become distracted because it's a small thing now. You know how us dads, we kind of put 100 on 10 sometimes.
Yeah, right.
Yep.
I know myself would be like, this cat crazy. It ain't that serious.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
You know what I mean? That's another thing I tell them. Like, never let nobody tell you it ain't that serious. Because you'll get people that say that to you. Like, no, it ain't that serious to you.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, I might be at the park, or, you know, I'm coaching my son, and, you know, I'm getting on his butt about something, you know, hypothetically speaking, some mom like, you know, it's not that serious. You know, they're just kids. They're just kids to you. We don't get the luxury to be kids for too long. We you know, I forget the term, but adultified at an early age, 12 years old.
Especially with the internet.
You know what I mean? You know, Tamir Rice, you know, all of these kind of situations that happen, people looking at them like they older than they actually are.
Right.
So with my son, like I'm real big on that, just dropping jewels in them every single day. And that's a great question, but it's tough to answer because, like, I'm with him every single day. Like, I'm constantly speaking into him. I'm constantly pouring into him. Something I didn't have with my dad until I was his age.
Right.
Now, at this age, like, you know, we grow up in the hood. Like, kids 11, 12, like, you can't tell them nothing.
You can't tell them nothing.
That's facts.
So I'm just grateful that I'm able to instill any type of lessons and values in him. And, you know, one of the big things he might not even notice, or y'all might not even know, is like when your kids ask certain questions, Like my son might be like, where you going, Dad, to do a speech? And my little 6-year-old like, Dad, you going to church?
Right.
Where you going to work? Because, they see how I'm presented, how I'm dressed up. If I'm just kind of lounging around, I don't got my clothes on. But that's their idea of work. That's their idea of manhood.
It's putting a shirt and tie on.
All those kind of things too, man. And, just to the quote you made, like I always say that, like outside of like parental alienation and, a mom trying to convince a kid that the dad is bad, because that happens too. But your kids define you as a father. You can't go around saying I'm a great dad just for the sake of saying it. Like, how do your kids appreciate you? How do they light up when you come in the house? Outside of parental alienation, because some cats go through things with the kid's mother. Maybe the relationship didn't last, and they 15 years old. You still telling them lies about your father, but hopefully, eventually, father gets that opportunity where he break it down, and
or they'll get old enough they can see it themselves.
That's what I meant to say. Right.
Yeah. And that's crazy because like my daughter the other day, I didn't even tell her anything. I was just celebrating her that she used the potty, and I got it on video. And she said, "Dad, you're the best dad ever." I was just like, you know what, baby girl, that. Thank you. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Someone said it, and even then, like the mother of my child, I don't call her my baby mom. I call her the mother of my child. She knows that I'm she thinks I'm a good dad too. You didn't see eye to eye at some point. But one thing that my dad always used to tell me when he was talking about sayings, he said 2 things to me. He always told me hard work builds character, and if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything.
Yeah,
those are 2 things that he always told me. That he still damn near every time I go on the phone with him, he says that. You know what I'm saying? So. Yeah,
and I like I said, I tell my kids, if you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready, and I always tell them like, all we have is our name.
Yeah,
that's all. I always tell them that all we got is our name.
Yep.
And then once you mess that up, it's a wrap.
Oh, that's huge too. So I kind of second you. Like I'll be like, is you a Harris or what?
Facts.
It's a Brown thing, yeah.
Like you a Harris. Like this how we operate. Like even on the I still got to get on them about this, but at open house, you come in here all timid. I know you. You not timid, but you meet new teachers. So I gave them a little bit of grace, but you walk in there and you
shoulder
stand
square.
firm. So
right.
Shoulder square. You shake hands. You look people in the eye. All of these things that I didn't know until I got to his age.
Right. No, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah. That makes a lot of sense, man. Man, what an episode this was, right? I really think this one's going to do some numbers. Because because I honestly think there's a lot of jewels, and I just want you to look in the camera, and I'm going to ask you this question, and I want you to give any advice that you have for any young man that may be watching this that doesn't know where their purpose is, doesn't know where they want to go in life. They battling streets of being an athlete. You know what I'm saying? They can feel themselves going towards where you went at first. What type of words of wisdom do you have for that person? What type of word of wisdom can you give them? And we'll end it on that. Tell these young men how to follow themselves, how to maybe find God, maybe, find something that they can get out these streets and do what they absolutely are meant to do.
Man, yeah, okay. He put me on the spot.
Hey, man.
But it's all good, I got kids on my, football team that I deal with, and they go through things, and, their dad's not around. So for the young guy that, might be similar, and, they 10, 11, 12, whatever age you are, my biggest jewel I'll drop is this. The longest way to success is a shortcut.
Okay.
And so what do you mean by that? The longest way to success is a shortcut. When you so rush, a lot of y'all living in a generation where you feel like you gotta have it all figured out at an early age. You gotta, be a streamer or, have fast money. You gotta be this person. You doing nothing but creating a false identity for yourself. And so there's to second that, there's no elevator to success. You got to take the stairs sometime.
That's
and
right.
what I'm saying with these quotes is slow down, right? Get to a point where you can really recognize who you are as a person, young or old. But I'm telling you now, young people, if you can just chill and be patient and recognize that it's a process and set goals for yourself, you'll be well off. You'll be better off than I was. I wanted to rush. I wanted to look good. I wanted instant gratification. I wanted to look like somebody who wasn't even me, right? And that took me down the wrong path. That took me to prison. That took me having to get out and change my life with a felony on my record. But you got an opportunity, if you're not in that situation, to really set yourself up for success. And when I say be patient, I'm talking about be patient to the point of a certain age, right? I want to say I was 28 when it really hit me that I was like a man.
Facts.
When it really started to dawn on me, like I'm a provider, I'm a protector, like. This is what I'm here to do. Like I'm here to build something bigger than myself. And if you think like that, and if you think that life is bigger than you, you have a purpose that's bigger than you. I don't care if it's, your grandma's legacy, your grandpa's legacy. Like you want to do what's best for your father. You want to do what's best for your mother. You want to take your mom out of poverty. The only way that you can do that is you have to start with a purpose. And you got to sit on that purpose, and you got to set a goal and go after it. And any little obstacle or anything, it's an obstacle for a reason. Jump over it, go under it, go around it, go through it. And I'll leave y'all with this. Sometimes the best way to go is through. Sometimes we try to avoid the obstacle. Sometimes we try to escape it. Sometimes you got to run through that wall. And I'll leave y'all with that.
That's facts. And I appreciate that. Hey, listen, y'all just got some jewels and y'all don't even know it. If you can really embody what he just said, right? Because I got goosebumps feeling what he just said. You know what I'm saying? And I wish someone would have told me that at y'all age, when I was younger, I didn't have that. Right. And this is what this platform is for. This is what Cultures versus Vultures is for. To relate to y'all, because we know that we can, because we come from it, but understand and let y'all know there's a different way that you can be successful, right? It's okay to have a job. It's okay to chase what you want and not be out here, doing what some of y'all are doing. I ain't gonna say, I'm gonna leave that with you. I'm gonna leave y'all with that. It's Cultures versus Vultures. I know Tree got something to say because he was fixing his mouth to say it.
No, I don't. I think Sharmain said enough. He, like you said, he got goosebumps. I was just listening. I just shut up. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So I think I want to thank him for joining us today.
Of course.
He could have been anywhere, but he came here with us.
Right.
I really appreciate that. Yeah, go get Rise Above the Odds.
Go get the book, man. Once again, SharmainHarris.com. Cultures, Vultures versus Vultures. Even that, like when you think about cultures, you got subcultures.
Right.
You know what I mean? So you don't, just because you're a part of a culture don't mean a subculture can't be created.
Or exist, yeah.
And then you got to watch out for the vultures. You might be trying to build something and create something, but it's people that's not of that culture trying to take you off and come down to you on you like a vulture. Like think of a real vulture. Like they come and take the scraps. Right. From the people that's already done built something. So you got to remain steadfast in that, man. But once again, appreciate y'all time.
Talk your shit, Sharmain.
Rise Above the Odds, SharmainHarris.com, Lanier, Treon, man, one of the biggest platforms in Kenosha, one of the fastest growing platforms in Kenosha. Y'all check out the next episode, Cultures versus Vultures.
Baby.
Let's go.
Yeah. We started counting the episodes because I would mess up on that.
Let's wrap this up.
Oh, no.